Paul is on the line from Bedford. Tell us what you think, Paul.
Maajid, it's Tommy Robinson.
Hey, Tommy.
How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right, Maajid. I want to give you some information. I hope, because people don't listen to me, I've been banging my head against the wall for 8 years with Kadir Bass, the imam from this mosque. Some information that he trains our police. He trains our government. Okay? He has been in training sessions for an organisation called Scott's Associates.
Yeah.
He has been educating our police on Islam. He has been educating our MPs on Islam for this organisation. This has been after, in 2010, I exposed him on the radio as wanting that. He openly said that in his ideal society, we would execute homosexuals. My local council, for the last 8 years, I'd give them information after information after information about this man. They've included him in the Luton in Harmony programme. The local churches include him in their organisations. This has gone on for years. Anyone who lives in Luton, I know everything about that mosque. I said 2 weeks ago, before any of this broke, that Kadir Bass is involved.
All right, Tommy, I remember you. I'm going to be fair now. I remember you saying it to me. Everything you've just said and everything I've just said about this mosque, I remember you saying it directly to me, right? So I'm going to back you up there. But, Tommy, you got to... What I also remember you saying to me directly is, I know there's a difference between Islamism and Muslims. And yet you've changed your narrative on some of this stuff, haven't you, recently? You've gone, after the Westminster attack, you stood there and the media came up to you, and I read your tweet when you said, for 1,400 years we've been attacked by Muslims.
Yep.
So what you've done is you've said from the advent of Islam to now, we've been attacked by Muslims. Now, what you're not doing anymore is one of the reasons I was willing to lend my credibility on the line by going out in public to say you've left the EDL is because I was willing to trust you that your narrative was going to move on. I don't know if you used your real name when you got through to this call or not, because it says Paul on my system.
I didn't because they wouldn't have put me... Imagine, when I left the EDL, I left the EDL for the beneficial of you and the beneficial of me. Yeah. That's what we agreed. So we're best not talk about what we agreed.
No, I want to talk about it, Paul. Tommy, I want to talk about it, Tommy, because I want to know why everything you're saying about this Luton Mosque is correct. But aren't you not part of the problem if you stand on the streets after the Westminster attack and say Muslims have been attacking us for 1,400 years?
I said this has been going on for 1,400 years.
What's been going on? What's been going on, Tommy? What's been going on?
A jihad. A war and enslavement against non-Muslims by Muslims.
Yeah.
Whether you say they're following...
What about the Muslim mates you told me you have? Are they attacking us?
No, they're not. I didn't say every Muslim.
Right, so do you not think you could do more to make that clear?
Imagine when people run over 40 people in the street and it's in spot and they're killing people and all of this, when you go down to Kadir Bass, what Kadir Bass will do for the whole of this, because he's done it with me, I've met with Kadir many times, he will justify everything with scripture from Islam. Now, if you want to add 3 letters on the word of Islam to make it sound better, I don't. I want to observe that problem is coming from scripture based from some scripture in Islam. It's coming from the commandments of Muhammad. I don't dispute that, Tommy, though. I accept and acknowledge that Islamism is a plausible reading of the scripture, but it's one reading, and so it's important that somebody like you, who has people that listen to them, right, on the, let's call it, whatever you want to call it, the populist side. I don't know if you're involved in Pegida these days, but it's important that somebody like you makes that distinction. I do make that distinction, Maajid.
I'm glad. Let's make it on air so everyone who's listening to you can hear that. What's the distinction you want to make?
I say it's not all Muslims. And what sort of moron would think every Muslim? Most Muslims I know who will class themselves as Muslims, when you talk to them, they'll say, yeah, I'm Muslim. They go in a betting shop. Yeah. They go out and have a beer. Yeah. Many of the Muslims I grew up with, they're not following the scripture as devout individuals. They'll still class themselves as Muslims because, unfortunately, even right now, currently, even if they don't believe in magic, I met many Muslims who call themselves Muslims themselves, who are apostates, who can't say it, who they're working in these industries, and they can't just be honest and say, I don't believe a word of it. Yeah. They can't, because they're in fear. Yeah. And you know, but my point is, when we come back to today, a Home Office approved scheme. Home Office approved are having him, a man who wants to execute homosexuals, a man who doesn't want integration, a man who wants to take over our country. Even the name of the mosque, it sounds nice. When you read Luton Islamic Centre, it doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah. So, Tommy, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I want everyone listening, I hope lots of your followers are listening, right? Tommy has just made I've seen some tweets. I think people are cottoning onto it because this is LBC, so people's word spreads. Tommy, you've just said on air, live on air, it's not all Muslims. You are distinguishing between those who take an extreme reading of the scripture and those...
I said that. I said that non-stop. For 10 years.
Right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step forward and make I'm going to also make a concession, right? I'm going to say, I hope the Home Office is listening and I hope the police is listening, because not just because Tommy Robinson said it, because I know that these sorts of extremist imams are training people in the Home Office. I know these sorts of extremist mosques have charitable status, and the Charities Commission are granting them the privilege of calling themselves charities. I know what you're saying is going on. So I hope that just because you're saying it, I hope they don't shut down and accept that facts are facts, that the reality is reality, and that we've got to put an end to this in this country so that people on all extremes can meet in the middle and come to a compromise and a solution which actually reinforces our secular, liberal, democratic values, which is what I used to try and do with you. I mean, I've become increasingly disheartened by some of your rhetoric that I see on Twitter, because you're not consistently making these distinctions that you've now kindly made live on radio here, because I've been following your tweets, Tommy, so I've been seeing that you're letting it slip.
Maajid, we're not letting it slip, just being honest. I'm not really bothered. The reality is, it is Muslims, so if I say Muslims, they are Muslims.
Yep.
They are following Scripture. They do believe they're going to heaven. It is inspired from their Quranic verses.
I don't dispute all of that. I don't dispute any of that. And see, I'm trying to be honest with you, Tommy. I don't dispute any of that, right? At the same time, let me give you another, again, facts. And you know me. You know I'm prepared to concede facts when I see them, right? And I've just not disputed anything you've said about the fact these are Muslims doing these things. Here's another fact for you. The fastest rising referrals to the UK prevent channel policy, you know, that when you refer people to the government to intervene because they're becoming extremists, it's called the channel system. The fastest rising rate of referrals to that are for far-right extremist incidents, though the highest number at the moment are, as usual, for jihadist terrorists. So we've got another problem here, which is the rise of far-right violence. People like, Tommy Mayer and others who are prepared to commit violence for their extreme views. Now, Tommy, again, just because I concede on jihadist extremism, I need you to concede that is a problem and that you need to start addressing it more openly, because you've slipped. You know, you assured me when you left the EDL you would do that, and your tweets have been obsessively focused on Muslims.
Maajid, because you have a platform, which you do, yeah, which I'd like to send you, which I'll send you now, direct messages from a 14-year-old child who has been contacting me, who's now suffering with mental illness.
Yeah.
What he said in school was that Islam is an intolerant and backward fascist ideology. He was put on the prevent scheme for this. Okay? He's struggling, mate. He's a 14-year-old child. He's put on the prevent scheme for stating a fact.
All right.
This is what happens.
Are you not going to concede that, Tommy? I don't want anecdotes. Are you not going to concede that far-right extremism is on the rise?
I will concede that it's inevitably going to rise. Of course it is. That's inevitable. Anyone with a brain can see that with what's up. But what I'm asking you, Maajid, to do is there's a change. I'll give you his details. Yeah, he has been persecuted for stating facts in school about. All right.
Send it to me, Tommy. If you're listening, send it to me. I'll look at it. You know how to get hold of me. We have to move on, unfortunately, because it is time for the interlude. But anyone in government listening, I urge you that if Imam Baksh, the Imam of the Luton Islamic Centre Mosque, that had Khalid Masood as their public point of contact, if he is training people through the Home Office, if that mosque has a charity status from the Charities Commission, this must be looked into urgently. This is unacceptable. It's enough now. High time the government realises the difference between secular liberal Muslims and those who are promoting theocratic extremist views.